Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to the official open house of the weather photo exhibition, Lansing Through the Seasons. My name is Melanie Jongsma. I'm publisher of the Lansing Journal, and we had so much fun putting this display together. I want to thank the Lansing Public Library for not only hosting this special exhibition, but also for being part of the process for the brainstorming and the suggestions. I'm talking about you, Lisa. And just being a wonderful partner to work with. Thanks, too, for providing some physical labor, Andrew, to get these 24 photos positioned on the wall. The display really turned out beautiful. Let's also recognize the people who have submitted weather photos to the Lansing Journal, not just the 24 who are on the wall, but anyone who has had a weather photo published in the Lansing Journal. Could you just raise your hands so we can see you? Yes, yes. We get so many beautiful photos, and so many people enjoy them, so thank you for your submissions. Let me tell you the story of how weather photos came to be a thing in Lansing. The Lansing Journal belongs to a coalition of online newspapers, and they have a pretty active Facebook group where newspaper publishers go to share ideas and get advice and just talk to each other. And it was in that group that someone said he was publishing a forecast every day on his website, and it was getting a lot of traffic, and he didn't know why, but that was happening. So I thought, hey, maybe the Lansing Journal could do that. We have weather in Lansing. So I talked it over with Josh, and in January of 2022, we started. Our first weather post was just the weather, no photo. It was not even the weather widget that we're using now. It was just a bunch of forecast details that I manually compiled and typed up, like the temperature and the wind speed and precipitation. It was very, very basic. Our next step was to experiment with having a local organization sponsor the weather post, because if it was going to get a lot of traffic, we thought that would be good for a local advertiser. So I just signed up the library as the weather sponsor. I'm not even sure I asked them or told them. You know, we had no idea what kind of traffic was going to happen, how to even measure the traffic that the sponsor was getting. We didn't know if this was going to be a valuable service or not, but the library let us experiment, and we appreciate. So the first weather photo was a photo of the library building. The next step was to use photos that actually had weather in them. So our idea was we would just get photos of the different kinds of weather, you know, a sunny photo and a rainy photo and a cloudy photo. And we were just going to use these as to match the forecast. So if the forecast was going to be sunny, we'd plop in the sunny photo, and we would use the same photos all the time. They would all be Lansing, but they would be sort of generic, because we thought it was about the weather. So we did that for a while. Josh and I were around town just taking photos of all different kinds of weather. Anytime we had weather, we went out and took a photo of it. All of this happened in January of 2022. On February 1, a winter storm started moving into Lansing, and we got socked with snow. There was a severe storm warning. The governor issued a disaster declaration. Schools were closed for a few days, and Lansing Public Works was plowing for 24 hours straight. Now, Josh and I thought this was great because we could get all these snow photos for our photo library. So we were out and about throughout Lansing during the storm getting snow photos. And Josh used one of those photos on the February 4 weather report, the weather post. It was a photo of a house on Henry Street covered in snow, and the caption simply read, "Near the corner of 187th and Henry Street in Lansing." Well, the next day, one of our readers called and said she loved that photo because it was the house her husband grew up in. They still live in Lansing, but not in that house, and she just got such a kick out of seeing his old neighborhood in the Lansing Journal. In fact, it was this reader who told me we should publish a different photo every day. And we should always mention the street name or the landmarks or the buildings or whatever was in the photo so that Lansing residents could identify where the photos were from. So that was really the spark that transformed this weather post into a community building feature, and it became about showcasing Lansing. And we wanted to showcase all of Lansing. So we now recognize that weather photos could be another way to get more of our community into the community newspaper. On February 8, we published our first invitation for people to submit weather photos. And someone named Heather Grant, who I just met tonight, was the first person to submit a weather photo. Her photo is on the wall. Her daughter and a snowman in their yard. She said her daughter is very embarrassed to be on the wall.
She's a freshman now.
So thank you, Heather, for being the first. That was published on February 10, 2022. Now, besides Heather Grant, I think only 2 or maybe 3 other people responded to our invitation and sent photos. In fact, it took a while for weather photo submissions to catch on. It really was not until about the middle of last year that we reached some kind of tipping point and started getting regular photo submissions. And now, today, the majority of weather photos are ones that have been submitted by readers. Finally. Now, somewhere along the way, people around town started telling me they loved the daily weather photo, which was always kind of funny to me because we can see on our website how many people are viewing each page, and those pages don't get a lot of views. They're one of the least viewed pages on our site, but they're the most commented on. People tell me all the time they love the daily weather photo. So this was all very fun and amusing, but the whole weather photo phenomenon was still kind of a curiosity that Josh and I would joke about. And then one afternoon last year, I was at SL Wine Bar on Ridge Road. Christopher and Deja Cain are the owners of that fine establishment, and they don't live in Lansing. They live in Chicago, but they are invested in Lansing because they have a business and they read the Lansing Journal. So I was in there talking to them, and Deja said to me, "You know, I love the daily weather photo. It's so nice. I love it that you published that. You make me want to live in Lansing." Right? Those 7 words stuck with me, and I thought, this is what the weather photo is all about. These photos and the hundreds of others that have been submitted are not just about flowers and sunsets. They are not just about pretty scenery. The photos are beautiful, yes, but I think the real beauty is the little bit of joy and pride that is behind the act of taking a photo and then submitting it to be published. Each photo submission to me is like a little vote for Lansing. It's someone saying, I live here and it's beautiful or interesting or unique, and I want to share that with you. The Lansing Journal's daily weather post gives people a platform for expressing some hometown pride. Lansing is a small blue-collar town that built up around farmland and clay into a place of commerce and neighborhoods and entertainment options and civic organizations. There's not much farmland anymore, but there are new kinds of beauty. And I love the variety of photos that our residents send in. They've captured parks and parking lots, insects and intersections, puddles and sunsets and patio gardens. Sometimes it's the subject matter itself that is artistic. Sometimes it's the composition or the perspective of the photographer that makes it a work of art. But they all say something about Lansing and about the people who live here. There's so much to be proud of in our little town, and these photographs give us a way to celebrate that together. Since launching the Daily Weather Post in 2022, the Lansing Journal has published hundreds of weather photos, all of them beautiful. And I want to make sure you all understand that these 24 on the wall are not somehow the best. They are just a sampling of the incredible variety of shots that people submit. Using the calendar year as a framework gave us a way to make some selections. We chose 2 photos from each month. And we wanted to include as many photographers as possible, so each photo is from a different photographer. Some of the choices were based on the subject matter of the photos. We didn't want too many sunsets and flowers. We wanted variety. Some were chosen because they captured a unique weather event in Lansing. Some were chosen based on color or shape, whether the photo was vertical or horizontal. We just wanted to balance out the display right. All of that is just an explanation that these 24 photos are not the winners, they're just a sampling. More than 40 different people have had weather photos published in the Lansing Journal. And new local shutterbugs continue to join the group of published photographers. Anyone is welcome to submit a photo for publication. Photos have to be of Lansing and they have to be current. We start over each month. Those are the only rules. I would love to see more photos from the north side of town. The north side is not very well represented in our current photography, so there's room for growth. I'm asking you to take up that challenge. I want to say thank you again to all of our photographers. Thank you for building community with us by sharing your view of Lansing. You might not think it's a big deal to submit a photograph for publication, but I think it is. It says something about our community and the people who live here, so thank you. These photos are available for sale, and I just want to say, whoever buys them, wherever they end up after this exhibition is over, I hope they will be a reminder of beauty and community and civic pride and the small things that ordinary people can do to make a difference in the place they live. Thank you for coming out.